You know, when you see a young child running around, jumping, or, just building a tower of blocks, have you ever stopped to think about what's really going on? Because it is so much more than just fun and games. Today, we are diving deep into why physical development is absolutely critical, and why, for little kids, learning to move is just as important as moving to learn.
And really, it all comes down to this one simple idea. This is the whole philosophy. It's this powerful reminder that, for preschoolers, their body is one of their main tools for figuring out the world. So active physical play, it's not taking a break from learning. It is the learning.
But here's the thing. We're up against a pretty serious trend. We're seeing way less movement and a whole lot more screen time. And honestly, it's putting a whole generation's development at risk. This means we have to get past just knowing that movement is good for them and really start focusing on how we can intentionally support it.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to explore the amazing power of play itself. Then, we'll get into the guiding principles for all you educators out there. After that, we'll jump into the nitty-gritty of specific movement skills, and we'll wrap it all up by looking at how families can get involved and build healthy habits together. Sound good?
All right, first up, let's totally reframe how we think about playtime. It is not just about burning off that extra energy. Nope, active play is basically a masterclass in development, and it touches every single part of a child's growth.
And what's really cool is how it's all connected. Think about it. Cognitively, when a kid is trying to figure out an obstacle course, they're not just moving their body, they're literally building neural pathways for problem solving. Emotionally, every time they try something new and succeed, that's a real confidence boost. Socially, they're learning to take turns and cooperate on the playground. And of course, physically, they're building stronger, healthier bodies. It's a total body, total brain workout all at once.
So the big question is, how do we actually foster this kind of development? Because these skills don't just magically appear. They really need to be intentionally taught, and that means we need a kind of playbook for educators and caregivers to create the perfect environment for movement.
And here are the rules of the game, so to speak. The number one goal is to minimize sitting and maximize doing. Simple as that. It's also about creating a safe space where kids can take some reasonable risks. I mean, that's how they learn their own limits. And this is so important. It's about including every single child, giving clear feedback, and teaming up with families so the learning doesn't stop at the classroom door.
Now, if you want a fantastic tool to put all of this into practice, just remember the FIT principle. It's super easy. F for frequency. Do it often, every day. I for intensity. You want it to be moderate to vigorous. T for type. Mix it up. Games, free play, dance parties, you name it. And the last T is for time. Aim for at least 60 minutes every single day. It's such a simple but powerful framework.
Okay, let's get into the skills themselves. I want you to think of these as the alphabet of movement. Right? Once a child masters these fundamental building blocks, they can combine them into a whole lifetime of complex, confident physical activity.
And everything, I mean everything, starts with balance. It's kind of like the silent partner in every single move we make, whether we're walking across the room or throwing a ball. Before a child can run or jump with any kind of confidence, they first have to master controlling their own body in space.
And what's just incredible is how much progress you see in just 1 year. Look at this. At 48 months old, a child is still a little wobbly, right? But by 60 months, just 12 months later, they show so much more control and stability. It just goes to show how quickly these skills develop when they get to practice them.
Next up, we have locomotor skills. We're talking walking, running, jumping, galloping. Think of these as the skills of exploration. This is how kids get from point A to point B, how they chase a friend, or how they discover what's on the other side of the playground.
So, once a child can move through space, they also need to be able to interact with things. These are called manipulative skills, and we can basically split them into two types. Gross motor skills, which use those big muscles for things like kicking and throwing, and fine motor skills, which use the small muscles in our hands for things like cutting with scissors, writing, and buttoning a coat.
And just like we saw with balance, you can see this really clear path of development here too. A 48-month-old might be able to toss a ball or hold a pair of scissors, but their movements are still coming together. By 60 months, that same kiddo is showing so much more coordination and control, whether they're throwing a ball with accuracy or using a pencil.
Okay, so we've got the basic movements down, but how does the brain tell the body what to do and where to do it? Well, that's where perceptual motor skills come in. This is all about the brain-body connection, connecting what our senses are telling us to how our body actually moves.
There are three really big ideas here. First, body awareness. That's your internal map, like, this is my hand.
Then there's spatial awareness, which is your external map. My hand is about to bump into that table. And finally, directional awareness gives you the language for movement. Up, down, left, right. These skills are just crucial for navigating the world safely. You know, this brings up a really, really important question. If physical play is so vital for learning, how do we make absolutely sure that every single child can participate? How do we adapt our activities so they're truly inclusive for everyone?
Let me tell you this story from a classroom. The kids were all pretending to be a train chugging along. When they got to a tunnel made from a cardboard box, the teacher, Mr. Clay, just lifted it up. He lifted it up so their friend Ming, who uses a wheelchair, could pass right through with everyone else. It's such a beautiful, simple example of how a little creativity and thoughtfulness makes sure no one gets left out of the fun or the learning.
All right, for our final section, let's talk about how we can bring all of this home. Because the skills that kids learn in the classroom, they really become solid when they become a part of a family's everyday life.
So what's the magic number? Well, the recommendation is at least 60 minutes, and honestly, up to several hours of moderate to vigorous physical activity every single day. And this isn't just a nice to have. It is a fundamental need for healthy development.
And the best part is, making this happen can be incredibly fun and easy. It doesn't have to be some structured sport. You can build a pillow fort in the living room, have a dance party in the kitchen, even turn chores, like sorting laundry, into a game that builds motor skills. The real goal is just to weave movement into the fabric of family life, creating habits that are going to last a lifetime.
And that really just says it all, doesn't it? We can't just assume kids will get the movement they need anymore. In our modern world, we have to be intentional about it. We have to be advocates for play, because we understand now that when we help a child develop physically, we are helping them build the foundation for absolutely everything else that's to come.